2019 has been a pretty big year for Stephen King. We've had the Pet Sematary remake, It Chapter 2, he released a new novel called The Institute, which I'm currently reading. Coming soon, we also have the Dr. Sleep movie, which is a sequel to The Shining, and now most recently, In the Tall Grass, the Netflix original film. How does this novella translate to the screen? Is it filled with chills and screams, or should the Lawnmower Man be called in? So a sister and a brother who are traveling on their way cross-country stop on the side of the road, and when they do that, they hear calling from inside a field a young boy. He's calling for help, and he's just, "Help, help, I can't find my way out." And so they then, in an effort to help out, they walk into this field that is filled with incredibly tall grass. I mean, we're talking probably 8 to 10 feet tall at the lowest. I mean, it is crazy tall. So it's not something that you can just kind of peek over. I mean, you know, when we hear about the tall grass, we think of the neighbor down the street who hasn't mowed his lawn in 3 weeks, you know, and it's kind of maybe knee high. This is not that. Now, when the brother and the sister enter the field, they encounter all kinds of weirdness. And then the question becomes, will they ever find their way out? This could fit within the genre of cosmic horror, and that's because of how the fates of the characters play out, despite what they do and despite all of their actions. But I'm not going to say that it's a perfect fit for that genre, just because of how things wind up. And if you're a fan of cosmic horror and you really know how it all works, then that might make a little sense. If you don't, I don't want to spoil it because it just kind of gives some things away there. Now, the movie does have some creepiness to it, but it's also hampered by the fact that it doesn't give a lot of explanation for certain things. We surmise that at some point there was some sort of an event and an object has appeared, but we don't know why it has, where it came from, what it really means, and that's kind of central to the story. So as we encounter this, it does add a little bit of weirdness to it. It adds a little bit of the creep factor, certainly some mystery and intrigue to it. But because we don't really have any type of solid answers, we just kind of left scratching our heads, and it becomes a little distracting at points because you're like, well, I mean, yeah, okay, it's creepy, and the things that are happening around are a little creepy, but I still really want to know why this is here or what this is doing, because that's the thing that's nagging at the back of my head. I think having some of these explanations would really help out the mythology a lot. And then there's also the fact that there is a church featured in this, and the church is central to the object, but that's about all the information we get. You just see the title of it, and that's the only reason you even know that they're tied together. The title of the church, that is, the name of the church, not really a title, whatever. You get what I'm saying. But it's odd that it's kind of there. And it makes me wonder if in the novella, we get a lot more information, we get a lot more of that detail, and it just kind of got left out when it was put onto screen. I do really like how the film messes with time and space. And that plays with your head a lot. And they do that, I think, really well in this. That it begins to mess you up a little bit. Where you're like, wait, what? And, then you kind of question it. And you're trying to figure out, well, what is really real then? If everything that you know is being twisted and turned, you really do begin at that point to kind of question at least the sanity of what you're seeing on screen and what is real, what isn't real, what's actually happening. I think that's part of the funness kind of in the cosmic horror genre also, where, I always think back to In the Mouth of Madness, that one fits really well, how they manipulate time and space. And that, if you haven't seen that movie, huge recommendation right there for that. It's outstanding. I felt the use of special effects and the visuals were really done well. I mean, it drew me in. It didn't distract me. I found myself kind of sucked in. If anything, I was bummed that at some points it was really, really dark, and so I didn't get to see a lot of detail. And I wanted to see some of that because I felt that it would have added to the creepiness. Now, sometimes, you hear a sound and there's no visual, and that's kind of a cool thing because you're like, oh, what was that? And it does good that they don't show you everything. But in this, when they were showing us stuff, I would have preferred to just see just a little bit more so I could get some more detail, get a little bit more nuance in there, and just enjoy it, because I think it would have sucked me in even more. As it was creepy, but it didn't just full on terrify me. There are some jumpy points to the movie, and there is a little bit of gore to this. And there is one scene in particular where I was like, oh, yee, that's not okay. But aside from that, it's not overly graphic, which I appreciated. It left a little bit more to my imagination about how certain things happened. Now, there were some parts where it's like, oh, ooh, gosh, yeah, saw that one coming, or oh gosh, nope, that hurts. But all in all, it's not like your slasher flick. I mean, the gore and the context makes sense for the most part. Now, the movie isn't perfect, and it's certainly not terrifying, but it's not terrible either. I mean, overall, it's just okay. I mean, you can't go wrong if it's something that you're casually watching. It's not something that I would say, yes, drop everything that you're doing right now and sit down and watch this. Best part is it's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. They're going to keep it on there probably forever. And so when your schedule permits, you can sit down and enjoy it. And if you happen to be scrolling through your phone a little bit while it's going on, you're not missing out that much. But I do think it is intriguing enough to keep you invested watching that. And it's only like an hour and a half long anyway, maybe an hour and 40 minutes. And so it's not that huge of a time investment either. Before I get to my rating, I did find a snack. And so sometimes when I find a good munchie that I want to pass along to you, well, I'm going to tell you about it. And now, if you know anything about me just from some of the things that I've posted before, I am a bit of a contradiction when it comes to food. Like, I hate marshmallows. I really cannot stand marshmallows, but I love circus peanuts. And I love chocolate-covered marshmallow Santas as long as they've been kept in the freezer for 2 years. I don't like them fresh, and I don't like them even after 1 year. And 3 years is too long because they just start to go wonky there. But there is a cookie called a Pinwheel, and you've probably seen them in your cookie aisle. And in California, where I'm at, they're about $6 a package. And I'm sorry, that's a little too steep for the amount of cookie that's in there. I'm a cheapskate. I like to do things as efficiently as I can. And so that is a huge treat if I were to ever buy a Pinwheel. They're delicious though. And I know they're filled with marshmallow, and that doesn't make any sense. And I don't freeze them for 2 years. So I know, go figure, whatever. Moving on. I just wanted to let you know though, that look, I found these at Walmart. These are a knockoff brand. Now, these are like $2, and they taste identical. I thought they were going to be, the chocolate was going to be all wonky and like stick to the, the inside of your teeth, like it's just like not a good type of chocolate. But I can't tell the difference between the off-brand that you can get at Walmart, or Walmart's brand, whatever, and the actual Pinwheel cookie. So you save yourself $4 if you just buy one package, but heck, why not buy 3 packages of the knockoff brand and spend the same amount of money? That's what I do. Anyway, back to In the Tall Grass. There is no sex or nudity, but there is profanity and a lot of violence. I give it 3 out of 5 couches. So, because this is a Stephen King novella, what other of his works would you like to see made, or maybe even remade into a movie? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.